My boyfriend said, "If you're jealous, that's your issue." After posting cozy pics with him ex, I said, "I'm not jealous." Then sent those photos to her current boyfriend. Suddenly, he understood what real jealousy looked like. I'm watching my boyfriend Justin Brooks have a complete meltdown in real time on social media. And honestly, it's better than Netflix. But let me start from the beginning because this drama deserves the full backstory. I'm Megan Foster, 30, and I thought I had my life figured out. Marketing manager at a tech startup in downtown Seattle, cute one-bedroom apartment with a view of Pike Place, and what I believed was a mature, healthy relationship with Justin, 32. We'd been together for 14 months, meeting through mutual friends at a rooftop party overlooking Elliott Bay. He was charming, successful in finance, and seemed refreshingly drama-free after my string of disaster relationships in my 20s. Everything was solid except for one recurring issue: his ex-girlfriend, Amber Walsh. They dated for 3 years through college and post-grad, broke up 2 years ago when she moved to Portland for her nonprofit job, but remained best friends. The air quotes are necessary because their version of friendship felt intense. Initially, I was cool with it. At 30, I prided myself on being the mature girlfriend who could handle her boyfriend having female friends, including exes. How enlightened of me, right? Plus, I trusted Justin. He'd been upfront about the friendship from day one, which seemed like healthy transparency. The problem started subtly, like a slow leak you don't notice until your floor's flooded. Justin would mention Amber constantly in casual conversation. "Amber thinks this new sushi place is overrated." Amber showed me this article about cryptocurrency trends. Amber says you remind her of her college roommate from Michigan. At first, I found it endearing that he valued her opinion. But when your boyfriend quotes his ex more than his actual girlfriend, tiny alarm bells start chiming. I'd catch myself mentally tallying how many times Amber came up in conversation versus how often he asked about my day at work or my thoughts on literally anything. The shift happened around month 10. I started asking basic questions about their hangouts, nothing invasive, just normal relationship check-ins. That's when Justin's defensive walls went up. "How was coffee with Amber?" I'd ask after he returned from their Saturday morning meetups. "Why? You feeling jealous?" He'd counter immediately. "No, just asking about your morning. Did you guys have fun?" "Sure you are. You know, most women get weird about ex-friendships. I thought you were different." This became his standard response pattern. Every innocent question about Amber morphed into accusations of jealousy. Every expression of mild discomfort was labeled as insecurity. Any attempt to discuss boundaries was dismissed as controlling behavior. The gaslighting was so subtle and consistent that I started questioning my own reactions. Was I being possessive? Was asking about his day really jealousy in disguise? At 30, shouldn't I be secure enough to handle this? The self-doubt crept in slowly, making me second-guess instincts I'd learned to trust in other areas of my life. Meanwhile, at my marketing job, I was killing it. Landing new clients, developing campaigns that exceeded KPIs, getting praise from leadership. I could read a room, negotiate contracts, and trust my gut about business decisions without hesitation. But somehow, in my personal life, I'd lost that confident voice. My best friend Chloe noticed the change during our weekly wine nights. "You seem anxious lately," she'd observe. "Everything okay with Justin?" "Yeah, everything's fine. Just work stress," I'd deflect, not wanting to admit that my successful, put-together life was being derailed by confusion over whether asking basic relationship questions made me a terrible girlfriend. 4 months ago, Justin's defensiveness escalated into something more aggressive. I'd mentioned feeling left out when he made last-minute plans with Amber, and he'd launch into lectures about independence in relationships and how evolved couples give each other space. When I suggested maybe including me occasionally in their friend group activities, he accused me of being clingy and trying to infiltrate every aspect of his life. Amber and I have history, Megan. We understand each other in ways that take years to develop. I'm not going to sacrifice that friendship because you're feeling insecure. The way he said history felt deliberately provocative, like he was testing my reaction. And his constant use of insecure as a conversation ender was starting to feel like a manipulation tactic rather than legitimate relationship feedback. 3 weeks ago, things reached a breaking point I didn't even realize was coming. Justin announced he was spending the weekend in Portland, helping Amber move apartments. A 2-day trip, staying at her place, just the two of them handling heavy lifting and organizing her new space. Don't you think that's a little much? I asked carefully, trying to strike the right tone between reasonable concern and supportive girlfriend. Much how? She's my friend and she needs help. What exactly are you suggesting? I'm not suggesting anything. It just seems like something she could hire movers for or ask her Portland friends to help with. So now I need your permission to help my friends? That's not what I said. It's what you implied. Look, Megan, if you can't handle me having close friendships, maybe we need to reevaluate what we're doing here. The threat was subtle but clear. Accept this dynamic or lose the relationship. I backed down, hating myself for not standing firm, but terrified of being labeled the controlling, jealous girlfriend who ruined a good thing over insecurity. That weekend, while Justin was in Portland doing God knows what, I found myself scrolling through Amber's Instagram stories obsessively. She posted throughout the weekend cozy dinner prep, furniture shopping, inside jokes I didn't understand. One story showed Justin assembling her bed frame with the caption, "Some things never change." Another featured them collapsed on her couch, exhausted and laughing, looking entirely too comfortable in each other's space. I screenshot nothing but remembered everything, filing away details that made my stomach churn while simultaneously convincing myself I was overreacting to normal friend behavior. When Justin returned Sunday night, he was different, energized in a way that felt pointed, like he was proving something about how much fun life could be without my negative energy. He talked about the weekend extensively, every detail about how helpful he'd been, how grateful Amber was, how good it felt to be needed and appreciated. 2 weeks ago, that energy translated into something that would change everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. 2 weeks ago, everything exploded in the most public way possible. Justin posted a series of Instagram stories from what he casually called a friend reunion when Amber visited Seattle for a work conference. But these weren't your typical friend hangout photos. The first story showed them at Canlis, one of Seattle's most romantic restaurants, with Amber leaning into Justin's shoulder as they shared a wine tasting. Her hand was on his thigh. The caption read, "Reunited and it feels so good." The second story featured them at a rooftop bar in Capitol Hill. Justin's arm wrapped around her waist as they posed against the city skyline. A third showed Amber kissing his cheek while he grinned at the camera, her lipstick leaving a visible mark. The caption, "Miss this one." But the story that made my blood pressure spike was the final one. A timestamp of 1:30 a.m. showing them leaving together, Justin's hand on the small of her back, with the location tagged as his apartment building. When Justin stumbled through my door the next morning, yes, morning, I was sitting at my kitchen table with coffee, screenshots already saved to my camera roll. "Fun night?" I asked, keeping my voice level. "Yeah, it was great catching up. Amber loved the city tour." He was practically glowing, that same energized vibe from Portland, but amplified. "The photos looked pretty Intimate for a friend tour. Here came the eye roll. Here we go with the jealousy again. Justin, you posted photos of yourself kissing your ex and bringing her home at 1 a.m. That's not jealousy talking, that's basic relationship respect. It was on the cheek, Megan. A friendly kiss. God, your insecurity is really exhausting lately. I'm not insecure. I'm pointing out that posting romantic-looking photos with your ex while in a relationship is disrespectful. If you're jealous, that's your issue, not mine. I refuse to be controlled by your insecurities. The gaslighting was so blatant, it felt like being slapped. But what really got me was his smug confidence, like he deliberately posted those photos to provoke exactly this reaction. That night, spiraling and questioning my sanity, I did what every millennial woman does when reality feels negotiable. I posted on Reddit, our relationships specifically, at 11:47 p.m. with shaking hands and a glass of wine. Title, Boyfriend, 32 memes, posts intimate photos with ex, calls me, 30F, jealous for being uncomfortable. Am I overreacting? I laid out the whole situation, keeping details vague but emotions raw. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within an hour, I had 47 comments and counting. Utah therapy girl, 2023. You're not crazy. This is blatant disrespect. He's testing your boundaries to see what he can get away with. You Seattle single, mom. Girl, I've been there. The jealousy label is manipulation 101. Trust your gut. But then came the other side. You, relationship realist. Sounds like you're being controlling. If you can't handle him having female friends, that's your issue to work through. Utah's Modern Love 47. He's right about the jealousy thing. Work on your insecurity before you sabotage this relationship. The mixed responses sent me into a deeper spiral. I stayed up until 3 a.m. reading every comment, screenshot every supportive response, and agonizing over every criticism. Was I the problem? Was I some neurotic girlfriend who couldn't handle normal friendships? I posted an update at 2:14 a.m. For those asking for more context, they dated for 3 years, broke up 2 years ago, but talk daily and hang out 2 to 3 times per month. He gets defensive when I ask basic questions about their hangouts. Tonight was the first time she's visited since we've been dating. You Boundary Queen replied within minutes. Daily contact with an ex while dismissing your partner's concerns? That's emotional affair territory. You Talk Girl Talk 2024 added, the Instagram posts sound like he's marking territory. No respectful partner posts intimate photos with exes. But You Talk Devil's Advocate 89 countered. You've been together 14 months, and this is the first time she's visited? Sounds like he's been respectful of your relationship. Maybe examine why you're suddenly feeling threatened. The validation felt intoxicating, but the criticism cut deep. I found myself refreshing obsessively, watching my post climb to 200+ comments. Someone had cross-posted to RR a Mythy Asshole, where the judgment was even harsher. Wednesday morning brought new developments. Amber posted a throwback photo of her and Justin from their dating days with the caption, "Some people never change, Charwar TBT, Char best friend, Sarcha R Seattle." The comments from her friends were telling, you two were perfect together. He looks happier here than in any recent photos, the one that got away vibes. That last comment had 23 likes. By Thursday, I was a woman possessed. I'd created a burner Instagram account and was deep diving through Amber's entire social media presence. What I found made my stomach drop. Their friendship had a pattern. Every few months, Amber would visit or Justin would travel to Portland. The photos were always intimate, hand-holding, cheek kisses, romantic restaurant settings. But here's the thing, none of these visits appeared on Justin's social media until this week. He'd been hiding them. I found photos of them at Powell's Books in Portland from 3 months ago, a wine tasting in Walla Walla from 5 months back, a hiking trip to Mount Rainier that he'd told me was a solo adventure to clear his head. In every photo, they looked like a couple. Friday brought my breakthrough discovery. While scrolling through Amber's tagged photos, I found her current boyfriend, Noah Martinez, a pediatric nurse at OHSU. His Instagram was public, full of couple photos with Amber spanning 2 years. Their 2-year anniversary was coming up next month, based on his countdown posts. But here's what made my blood run cold. Noah had no idea about Justin's existence. Every photo of Amber with friends on his account featured her female coworkers or college girlfriends. Not a single mention of her best friend, who she saw monthly and had dated for 3 years. I screenshot everything. The romantic dinner photos, the hiking trips, the intimate poses, the flirty captions. Most damning were the timestamps. Many of these friend hangouts coincided with romantic posts on Noah's account about missing Amber during her work conferences. My hands were shaking as I created a folder on my phone labeled Evidence. This wasn't friendship. This was a double life. Saturday night, after Justin posted yet another Amber throwback with "Memories with this one never get old," I made a decision that would change everything. I was done being gaslit, done questioning my sanity, done being called jealous for having basic expectations of respect. It was time for some transparency. Sunday evening, I crafted the message that would detonate everything. I'd spent hours perfecting the tone, factual, not vindictive, concerned, not catty. "Hey Noah, you don't know me, but I'm Justin's girlfriend. I think there are some things about your girlfriend Amber's work conferences that you should know about. I'm not trying to start drama, just figured you deserved the truth. These are all from public Instagram posts over the past few months." I attached the folder: romantic dinners, hiking trips, intimate poses, flirty captions, and most damning, the timestamps showing these friend hangouts coinciding with Noah's posts about missing Amber during her supposed work travel. I hit send at 8:47 p.m. and immediately felt sick. Was I doing the right thing? Was this revenge disguised as justice? But then I remembered Justin's smug face telling me my feelings were my issue, and my finger found the send button. Noah read it within 30 minutes. I watched the red receipt appear, then disappear, then reappear. No response, but he viewed my Instagram profile extensively. Monday morning brought the earthquake. First, every couple photo of Noah and Amber vanished from both their accounts. Then, at 10:23 a.m., Noah posted a story that made my coffee taste like vindication. When you find out the work conferences were romantic getaways with the ex-knocker 2 years, wasted, manipulated, my phone exploded at 10:31 a.m. What the fuck did you do? Noah is freaking out. Amber called me sobbing. "You psychotic bitch! How dare you! This is toxic and manipulative, and I cannot believe you did this." I responded once. "Did what? I thought you and Amber were just friends. If showing her boyfriend public posts breaks them up, maybe examine why that happened. You know exactly what you did. You tried to destroy their relationship because you're jealous and controlling. If transparency destroys relationships, those relationships were built on lies. Also, still not jealous, just returning the honesty you claim to value." Justin called 23 times in 2 hours. I sent every call to voicemail, but watched the social media destruction unfold like my personal Netflix series. Noah had gone full nuclear. He posted every receipt, screenshots of Amber's texts claiming girls' night during her romantic dinners with Justin, messages where she said she was working late during their hiking trips, the kissing photo with his caption, "Just friends though, right?" Then came the revelation that changed everything. For anyone wondering, yesterday was supposed to be our 2-year anniversary dinner. Instead, I spent it discovering my girlfriend's been lying for months. Amber, he's all yours. Hope he doesn't cheat on you like you did me. The comments section became a battlefield. Amber's friends initially rallied. You're being dramatic, Noah. Friendships aren't cheating. But then Noah's receipts started flowing. Screenshots of Amber's location services showing her at Justin's apartment when she'd claimed to be at work conferences. Venmo payments from Justin for romantic restaurant meals during her business trips. Amber attempted damage control. People are taking everything out of context. Justin and I are friends. We have history, but I love Noah. Noah's response was poetry. Friends don't lie about their whereabouts. Friends don't have romantic anniversary dinners while their partners think they're working. But hey, if you're jealous that I loved you for 2 years while you were emotionally cheating, that's your issue to deal with. The role reversal was chef's kiss. Tuesday brought Justin to my doorstep, looking like he hadn't slept. The confident, gaslighting energy had evaporated, replaced by something that looked like panic. Megan, we need to talk. About what? I thought my feelings were my issue. Amber won't speak to me. She's blaming me for encouraging Noah to post those things. Her entire friend group is calling her out. Sounds like consequences. Noah posted their private conversations. He made us look like we were having an affair. Were you? We're friends. You know that. Friends who lie to their partners about spending time together. Friends who pose for romantic photos while hiding the relationship from other people. That's not friendship, Justin. That's deception. He tried a different approach. Look, maybe I didn't handle things perfectly, but you went nuclear. You destroyed 2 relationships because you couldn't communicate your feelings. I tried communicating. You called it jealousy and told me it was my problem, so I made it everyone's problem by telling the truth. Wednesday brought the most satisfying development. Amber and Justin, stripped of the thrill of sneaking around, tried dating openly. It lasted exactly 4 days before imploding spectacularly. Amber posted cryptic quotes about knowing your worth. Justin posted about toxic people revealing their true nature. Translation, they realized that without the excitement of betraying other people, they had nothing in common. My Reddit update post got 2,147 upvotes and was cross-posted to RR Pro Revenge. The comment section became a support group for people who'd been gaslit by partners who labeled reasonable boundaries as jealousy. You Boundary Queen commented, "You gave him exactly what he asked for. You made your jealousy not your problem anymore." Beautiful. 3 weeks post-explosion, I started therapy. My first session began with, "I think I might be the problem in my relationship." My therapist, Dr. Williams, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s, interrupted. "Tell me why you think that." After hearing the whole story, she leaned back in her chair. "Megan, what would you tell a friend who described this situation to you? That she wasn't crazy, that her boyfriend was manipulating her. So why is it different when it's you?" That question changed everything. Over 6 sessions, I unpacked why I'd accepted being labeled jealous for having normal relationship expectations, why I'd apologized for my instincts instead of trusting them, why I'd prioritized being the cool girlfriend over protecting my self-respect. Dr. Williams gave me homework, boundary journaling. Every time someone dismissed my feelings or labeled my reactions as negative, I had to write down what I actually needed and whether that need was reasonable. 2 months later, at my friend's barbecue, I met someone new. When his ex texted about returning a book, he showed me the message and asked, "Is it okay if I meet her for coffee to get this back? I know ex stuff can be weird." My first instinct was to say, "Of course I trust you," but Dr. Williams' voice echoed, "What do you actually need?" "I appreciate you asking. Would you mind if she just dropped it off, or you met somewhere public? The coffee feels a bit much for a book return." "Absolutely. You're right. A quick pickup works better anyway. Thanks for being honest about what makes you comfortable." When I told him I appreciated him checking with me, he looked confused. Why wouldn't I? We're a team. Funny how healthy relationships work when both people respect boundaries instead of weaponizing words like jealousy and control. To anyone reading this who's been told their reasonable concerns are jealousy, trust your instincts. Sometimes the best response to "your feelings are your problem" is making sure everyone else knows the truth too. And sometimes, just sometimes, watching manipulative people face consequences feels better than Netflix.